Hello students, in last lecture we completed the introductory part of all the biomolecules that are present inside living organisms briefly. Now today we are moving towards some of the other things related to biomolecules. The most fascinating thing about chemistry or biochemistry is to isolate the compounds that are present inside the living tissue. If we talk about animal tissue or plant tissue or microbial tissue, we can isolate thousands of the organic compounds that are present in such tissues. If we talk about animal tissues, we can find amino acids, lipids, proteins, nucleic acids, carbohydrates. We have discussed some of these biomolecules up to some extent, but if we try to isolate such metabolites or such compounds from plant tissue or microbes or fungi, we can find more than these particular compounds in those tissues. Those compounds are called as metabolites. Even these compounds are called as metabolites because you will further study that these compounds are involved in biochemical reactions. So many biochemical pathways are there and these biomolecules are involved in this. That's why they are called as metabolites. They are also referred to as metabolites. But apart from these metabolites, even in plant tissue, fungi tissue and microbes, you will find these particular metabolites. But apart from these metabolites, you will find so many other metabolites which are known as alkaloids and flavonoids, majorly found in plant tissues, rubber, also plant tissue, essential oils, many plant tissue, antibiotics. You can find from microbes and fungi, colored pigments from both, even in plants, scents, gums and spices. So these are the other compounds which are found from these particular three types of organisms and not in animal tissues. These are called as secondary metabolites. The metabolites or the compounds which were found only in the animal tissues are called as primary metabolites and are required for the survival of any living organism. The major thing about primary metabolites is they are required for survival of the said organism. But if we talk about secondary metabolites, these metabolites do have work in their own organisms, but they are not there for survival. એટલે કે જો આ જે મેટાબોલાઇટ્સ છે તે જો એ લોકો પ્રોડ્યુસ નહીં કરતા હશે તો એ લોકો મરી જશે એવું નહીં થાય. They will survive even without producing these metabolites. So these are the additional metabolites which are not required for the survival of these particular organisms. They have their own work in particular organisms, but the major thing is after so many research articles have been published using these particular compounds, and they are used in so many activities which are human friendly or economically viable compounds. These are economically viable compounds. We all know what is the use of rubber, what is the use of antibiotic, colored pigments, spices. These are one of the most economically strong compounds. So these secondary metabolites are, that's why, explored from plants, fungi and microbial species. In case of these compounds, as I have said earlier, they are required for the survival and we have already discussed in the last lecture. Okay, now moving ahead on the next topic. The next topic is biomacromolecules. Primary and secondary metabolites, you will study a lot about secondary metabolites in upcoming years or in college because they are very, very, very important and they are used in so many human friendly activities as I have said earlier. Now the next topic is biomacromolecules. So biomacromolecules, as we discussed in the first lecture, there are 2 or 3 ways by which we can isolate the compounds that are present in the living tissue, and we discussed about how the acid is used to extract such compounds, and we found 2 different pools, that is acid soluble pool and acid insoluble pools in such mechanism. So when we analyze the acid soluble pool or the compounds that are present in acid soluble pool, they were mostly found to be from 18 to 800 Dalton. Now here Dalton is a unit which can measure the molecular weight of a compound. So if we analyze the molecular weights of the compounds that are present in the acid soluble pool, they were found to be between 18 to 800 Daltons. But when we talk about acid insoluble pool, majorly we found 4 different types of compounds. Those were proteins, carbohydrates or polysaccharides, nucleic acids and lipids. These were the 4 compounds that were major in acid insoluble portion. Now out of these 4, apart from lipid cannot be considered, or lipid is not having higher molecular weight, but these 3 have the molecular weights in the range from 1000 to 10,000 to 20,000, or it can go much higher compared to these molecules. So based on the molecular weights of the compounds that are found in the living tissue, the biomolecules that means the chemicals that are found in living tissues. So based on these, particularly molecular weight, the biomolecules are distributed or are divided into 2 different categories. One is biomicromolecules, or in short they are also called as micromolecules, and one is biomacromolecules. The biomicromolecules are the compounds which are having less than 1000 Dalton in their molecular weight, and these are more than 1000 in their Dalton in their molecular weight. So this is the basic difference between biomicromolecules and biomacromolecules that are found in the living tissues when we isolate such compounds using different analytical techniques. Now the question arises, if lipid is not the biomacromolecule, if it is not considered as the macromolecule, how come it is isolated in the acid insoluble portion or acid insoluble pool when we isolate them using acid extraction technique? So the lipid can be found in cell in a free form as it is, and it is also one of the building blocks of the membranes of many organelles as well as the membrane of the cell itself. In the last chapter we discussed that how the structure of a cell membrane contains the the structure of the cell membrane contains the bilayer of the lipids. So lipid is found in free form and also in structure of membranes that are found in the cells. So when we grind the tissue, remember let me remind you the first isolation technique that we use. We have to grind the tissue, and at the time of the grinding of the tissue, the lipids or the cell membranes along with the other organelle membranes, they get disrupted, but they are insoluble in water. Thus they form vesicles. Now these vesicles are very big in structure, and that's why they get isolated with acid insoluble portion. The basic difference between why the lipid is isolated in the acid insoluble pool is this particular reason, because there are so many lipids present in the membranous structures, even in the cell membrane and the organelles. When we grind the tissue, these lipids get disrupted, and as they are insoluble in the water, they form vesicle. Imagine કે આ અહીંયાથી આખું એક મેમ્બ્રેન છે, એમાંથી આટલો પોર્શન એનો ડિસ્ટર્બ થઈ ગયો, તૂટી ગયો, બ્રેકડાઉન થઈ ગયો. હવે આ જે પોર્શન છે લિપિડનો, દેટ ઇઝ એસિડ that is insoluble in water. That's why they will form vesicles. એટલે આ રીતે આખી એક વેસિકલ બનાવી દે, round vesicles, and these vesicles are quite big, and that's why they cannot be filtered out. So it remains in the acid insoluble portion or pool. But lipids are essentially not included in biomacromolecule portion. So you would be now clear with the funda of biomacromolecules and biomicromolecules. So we will move further. The next point that we are going to discuss is proteins. Maybe the most important biomolecules that is present in living organism. The protein is a polymeric structure mainly made of amino acids. It is a long chain of amino acids which are bound together by peptide bond. So for example, here is amino acid. This is a long chain of amino acids, and this particular bond represents the peptide bond. We will have the detailed structure of protein in the next session in this chapter only. So at that time we will discuss how the structure of the protein is, which is in 4 different forms: primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary structure. This is how the complex structure of the protein is. But basically it is a long chain of amino acids which is held together by peptide bond. And we will see how those particular peptide bonds are there between the amino acids. The amino acids that are present in the protein structure are many, but which are found in the living tissues are essentially 20 different amino acids, which examples are glycine, lysine, tryptophan, valine, and so on. So this particular protein is a polymer molecule, but it is not a homopolymer molecule. Now there is a difference between homopolymer and heteropolymer. Homopolymer is a molecule in which the monomeric unit, whichever the monomeric unit is, the only monomeric unit will repeat itself. Single monomeric unit will repeat itself to make a polymer molecule, which is called as homopolymer. The example of such homopolymer is carbohydrates, and in particularly carbohydrates, polysaccharides. Many of the polysaccharides are homopolymer molecule, but in case of proteins they are heteropolymers. So monomeric units that are present inside the particular structure of the protein are all different amino acids. Okay, 1 or 2 amino acids can repeat itself, but not all the compound or all the molecules present inside a polymer is similar. So these are heteropolymer molecule, and out of the 20 amino acids, few amino acids are required from our nutrition, that is from our diet. These are called as essential amino acids. Basically, essential amino acids are those amino acids which are not produced in our body by itself. We need them through our diet. So when we have dietary proteins, then out of those proteins we will get such amino acids, and that's why they are called as essential amino acids, as we require them from our diet. Apart from essential amino acids, all the amino acids are non-essential amino acids, and they are made in our body through many of the biochemical pathways. We will or you will study these particular things in future. So basically this is how the protein is. The most abundant protein that is found in animal tissues is collagen protein. Now if we talk about the most abundant protein throughout the whole living organisms, it is Rubisco. It is a kind of enzyme, ribulose biphosphate carboxylase oxygenase. It is actually enzyme which we will discuss in plant physiology chapters in 11th science only later. This is the most abundant protein that is found in the living organisms as a whole, and collagen is the protein that is found in the animals most abundantly. The work of the protein or the function of the protein is very diverse. It is found in the structures of the things, and also they act as enzymes. They are also hormones. As we discussed in the last chapter, that they are also found in the structure of cell membrane, and there their function is to transport molecules across the membrane. They also fight with bacteria and other pathogens which enter into our body in terms of antibodies. And there are so many numerous functions of proteins which we will eventually learn in future years. So basically this is the basic information or the brief idea about the proteins. We will discuss such other molecules later, and the structure of protein as well as nucleic acids will also be included in this particular chapter. If you find any difficulty, you can WhatsApp me or call me, and you have to make notes and send it to me. Thank you.